domestic violence. She was beaten up regularly. And yet, despite that, she was calm. She was at peace. And I remember at the age of 17, it was a very painful moment when she said to me, she looked at me, I was 17, and she said, "I've done my job. I no longer need to be your mother, and you're on your own." Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. First of all, thank you very much for the opportunity. I was born and raised in East London. I grew up in a predominantly Muslim area. It was predominantly a Bangladeshi area. And so I would see Muslims quite a lot. So I'm of mixed race. My mother is Italian and my father is Nigerian from West Africa. But I think whenever I'm asked this question, I just think Alia is a soul that wants to journey to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I grew up as a Christian. I became a born-again Christian actually as a teenager. I always believed in God. My mother raised me in a way that encouraged me to be curious about life and purpose and the world. I questioned the kind of fundamentals of Christianity at a very, very young age and found that whilst emotionally and spiritually I was inclined towards the faith, rationally it didn't sit with me. And so I actually ended up leaving the faith. On my way to the bedroom, I took my mother's shawl. It was a beautiful kind of Asian shawl that she had been gifted by her Pakistani colleague, work colleague. And I took the shawl and I threw it onto the ground and I made sujood. I prostrated and I said, God, and I remember I said, God, make them stop arguing. And, at that time, obviously I was a young child. I didn't know exactly what I was doing, but I was copying what I had seen in the masjid. And I remember walking into East London Mosque. I think I was the only non-Muslim child that went to the funeral. And I prayed Dhuhr and I prayed the Janazah prayer thereafter. And I remember in the Dhuhr prayer making sujood and feeling this sense of closeness that I had felt when I made it, 2 years earlier. And that was kind of like my second experience of Islam. Domestic violence, she was beaten up regularly. And yet, despite that, she was calm. She was at peace. And I remember thinking, your family situation is far worse than mine. I'm falling apart, but you've got it together, and what is it? How are you able to kind of get through this? Because I'm really being affected by this. And she said, it's my faith. It's my faith that gets me through. Now, obviously, I thought I knew who Muslims were, but I also felt that Islam was a very backwards religion. And I developed a great love for this particular friend. We became very, very close. We were completely different. And as time went on, I started to become convinced that Islam was the truth, and it terrified me. I started to become convinced. My heart started to change. My mind started to change. I couldn't find anything. It felt as though my legs were pinned to the ground. And the thought that was in my mind was, if I cross this road, or in fact any other road, and I'm hit by a car and I die knowing what I know, what I truly know, what would that mean for me? And it just dawned on me. Why am I not testifying to that which has already entered my heart? So I took myself home, called my friend. She picked up the phone, heard my voice, and she was just so happy to hear from me. And I said to her, I believe, and I need to take my Shahada. And that was the weekend, and the Monday I took my Shahada. Alhamdulillah. And I remember at the age of 17, it was a very painful moment when she said to me, she looked at me, I was 17, and she said, I've done my job. I no longer need to be your mother, and you're on your own. And that was very, very difficult. At that age, you need your family. And to be rejected by your mother is very, very painful. Very, very painful. I would invite them just to stand in front of the ocean and to look at the depths of the ocean, and that life exists in the darkness of the ocean. To take a leaf and look at the intricacies of the design of one single leaf, and to ask themselves, where did this come from? Where did this come from? What is the purpose of this leaf? What is the purpose of this flower? What is the purpose of the ocean? And then to think, I too am a part of that creation. So if there is a purpose of a leaf and the purpose of a flower, then what is my purpose? That's what I would ask them.